In Jurassic World Rebirth, we see numerous times that the D-Rex is drawn to light, almost mesmerized by it. But why? Is this a natural instinct, or is this something far more sinister and dark at play here? Well, the real reason is definitely far darker than meets the eye. You see, almost next to nothing is known about the D-Rex's genetic makeup. All we really know of is that it's a combination of T-Rex and other animals. Sure, outside of the Jurassic Park lore universe, we know it's inspired by a rancor and a xenomorph, but in-universe, we know only that it has the T-Rex genome. And this is where things start to get extremely interesting. You see, there are several dinosaurs in the Jurassic Park lore which also have this fascination with light. Let's look at the Scorpius Rex, for example. And the interesting thing about Scorpius Rex is it was actually made in 2009, 1 year before the events where the D-Rex escapes. That means the Scorpius Rex and the D-Rex coexisted at the same time. That in itself is extremely odd. Two animals created roughly the same time, both unfit for the park, both kind of mutant/hybrids in their own way, both extremely unstable, have the same level of attraction to light sources. Now, if you didn't know, the Scorpius Rex was the first ever hybrid in the entirety of the franchise and was deemed too ugly and genetically unstable to be displayed in Jurassic World. And mentally unstable, and not only that, was almost captivated and drawn to fire. Again, exactly like the D-Rex is drawn to the flares and light sources. You see, the D-Rex isn't just drawn to flares, it seems to hang around the internal of the island where there is loads of power and light source. I mean, we don't see it anywhere else on the island. Sure, you can say, we only see the island for a few days, but the D-Rex is literally first seen when the gang encounter it, still in its enclosure. I mean, he walks by the door, remember? And the reason you could say it still stays close to the facility and doesn't go out into the open island is because, again, it's drawn to these lights. But why? Well, the Scorpius has kind of give us a clue, and I'll come back to that because there's more to be had on it. But let's talk about the T-Rex. We know the D-Rex is literally a mutant T-Rex. And as we know, in Jurassic Park 1, the T-Rex was drawn to the flare. And exactly the same thing is seen in Jurassic World. The only difference here is, in Jurassic World, the flare means feeding time for the Rex. And this is where things get a little bit interesting because you see, why were they trying to clone a new T-Rex for Jurassic World in this facility when they already had the T-Rex from the 1993 Jurassic Park, and the genome was fine? I mean, they could literally extract that DNA and clone another copy, right? So the fact that the D-Rex is literally them trying to create a new T-Rex doesn't seem to add up. And you could say, oh, it was for the original Jurassic Park. That is completely impossible. I mean, we see it in this brand new facility in the flashback scene in 2010. This D-Rex is a mutant because they were clearly experimenting with hybrid technology. I don't care what you say. We literally see it in all these tubes. I've covered it in previous videos. This wasn't them trying to create dinosaurs. This was them literally experimenting with certain genes to get certain traits. The D-Rex is no exception to this. We know that the D-Rex will likely have the T-Rex's poor eyesight, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be attracted to light. Just look at the Scorpius Rex. The key here is we don't know what exactly is inside of the D-Rex in terms of genes, but there are real-world animals which are drawn to light. You've just got to look at moths, fireflies, and certain marine creatures. And funny enough, these light sources and the light attraction can actually aid in finding food, a mate, or navigating the environment. This then started to get me thinking about the D-Rex's engineered genes. And as we know from the D-Rex's pen, this is version 23. I mean, it isn't version 1. They've altered its DNA potentially 23 times. I mean, they haven't put it in a park. They've kept it alive purely for experimentation purposes. Otherwise, they would have just put it out of its misery, right? So the fact that we have a V23, to me, means they've tried to alter its genes 23 times. And in doing so, has literally created this mutated T-Rex monstrosity. I mean, let's look at certain animals which could have been put into this genome. Certain bat species and some birds are drawn to lights due to the insects that gather there. I mean, they're literally looking for their prey items, right? Could that be true with the D-Rex? The light source to them could mean that prey is around. Look at some deep-sea creatures like the anglerfish. It literally uses bioluminescence to lure its prey. But not only that, many animals actually become disorientated by bright lights, leading them to either fly into it, go towards it, or become grounded near the light source. I mean, the term deer in the headlights, for example. And then it started to get me thinking, the Scorpius Rex does the same thing. It literally becomes disoriented looking at fire. It's confused, just doesn't know what to make of it. And then the D-Rex seems to be the same thing, but I believe there's a different connection going on here, something far deeper ingrained in its genes. Not just disorientation, something else. We know it's not just flares. its lights because it was drawn to the dock area. We know it was drawn to the car when the lights turned on, and the chances are when all the lights are on close to its original enclosure, it just stays and hangs around there, hence why we see it for the first time at that location. What if it thinks the light source it's seeing is a form of bioluminescence? I know it sounds wild, right? But hear me out. We actually see bioluminescent animals in the Jurassic World lore. Look at the paras we see in Camp Cretaceous. They were not really in the park, but they were bioluminescent because Henry Wu, again, was experimenting with their genes. This shows that there are bioluminescent dinosaurs out there in the Jurassic World lore. And what if the D-Rex actually thinks that the light it's seeing is bioluminescence to attract a potential mate? It thinks there's another D-Rex out there, hence why it's always captivated and moving towards it. It wants to investigate to see if it's a potential mate. And I know you're probably thinking that's wild. Well, look at it. This isn't a fully functional animal. This is a mutated animal. Its mind is all over the place. Just look at the Scorpius Rex. I bring it back to that once again. The Scorpius Rex's mind was fragmented all over the place. And this was apparently the first hybrid. So the D-Rex was the prototype. You can only imagine the fragmentation of that animal's mind. I mean, we already know it doesn't leave its pen, well, its pen area, because of the light source. It could be a form of comfort for it as well. You have to remember, this animal didn't ask to be created, didn't ask to be experimented on, become D-Rex version 23. It's probably quite scared as well. Sure, it's a massive predator, but it doesn't know anything. These lights could be the only form of comfort it knows. And remember, when it was in captivity, these lights would probably also mean food. Food is around this area. And if it's lived in captivity its entire life, lights would literally mean safe haven, food, warmth, comfort. So why wouldn't it be drawn to this light? Coupled with the fact that it could be bioluminescence attracting it as well. But there's a spanner in the works here. Every time it seems to go towards the light source, it seems to attack it, right? I mean, the car literally smashes its fist/hand, paw, claw, whatever you want to call it, down onto the front of the vehicle. When it goes to investigate the flare, always attacks the person at the end of it. Well, we don't know whether it attacks Duncan, but likely followed the flare until Duncan threw it. So whichever light source it seems to be drawn to, apart from, you know, the static ones close to its pen, it seems to attack. And again, I have a reason for this. Look at bats. Bats are attracted to light sources due to the insects that they literally attract. So the fact that it could be going towards these light sources because it knows animals would be at the end of it. Food, prey. The only issue I have with this, though, is that the Scorpius Rex doesn't go towards fire/light because it seems almost traumatized by it, not that it was driven to it for food. And if the Scorpius Rex's mind was all over the place and unstable, and that came after the D-Rex's creation, it would only be logical to assume that the D-Rex's mind was also all over the place, right? But what we do know is that in Jurassic World, in that secret Dr. Henry Wu lab, they were using actual animals for their traits. We see them literally cooped up in cages. This was apparently the most secret lab on Isla Nublar, and they did this research there. So you can only imagine the type of gene manipulation they were doing on this lab in Rebirth. I mean, we see numerously genetically altered mutant dinosaurs in vats, and I've covered some of them in my other videos. There's no way that D-Rex didn't have any type of gene manipulation which corrupted its mind and give it these traits to go towards light. But this is it. This is what I think. Obviously, we know it has the poor eyesight inherited from the T-Rex main genome. We know it stays around the main enclosure/pen because of the lights, and the potential it has its nest still in its original enclosure. The fact that it stays around here does to me signify that it's definitely for feeding. It believes these lights mean food, so it'll stay around there. Hence why when it sees lights out in the open and natural light sources, it's going to associate that with food. So it goes straight in to investigate, and what is usually at the end of this light source every time it's seen it at the flare? Food. Duncan. The car with the nasty man? Food. I mean, he eats him whole, right? Therefore, it's a combination of the genes, the mutated genes anyway, from the T-Rex and whatever else they inserted into it, and a learned behavior. But there's still one thing which really bugs me, and that's that initial D-Rex escape scene. I mean, we know initially the rapper causes the system to reboot, right? But then they initiate a lockdown and that door is closed. But then later on in the movie, in 2027, when they come back to see the D-Rex, the door is open, and it was not to do with power. In fact, I have a whole theory on how the military was there, a military helicopter, and I highly recommend checking it out after this. It's the perfect watch after this one if you're a Jurassic fan, which reminds me, hit subscribe if you love Jurassic. This entire channel is based on dinosaurs, and I release new videos every week, so subscribe right now not to miss a video. Massive thanks to our Jurassic members on screen now, DVM Wannabe 1018, Hammer Time, and our Jurassic CEO, Joseph Frost's Ghost. Thanks guys, you keep the power on in the park. And if you came across a D-Rex out in the open with a flare, could your day get any worse? You bet Jurassic can. Catch you later.